We're live.
Only 16 minutes late. Here we go. Oh, wait.
16 minutes late? Oh, yeah, not bad.
Right?
Okay, sorry, my mic was off.
Testing.
Happy 420, everyone.
We're late, but better late than never.
And it's always a good time to smoke. I have
And
some...
It's Friday for high day.
I know, TGIF, finally.
How's everyone's quarantine or protests going? Strikes, whatever you're up to.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's May Day. It's called May Day today. It's May 1st, so there are May Day strikes going on. Do I have...
I mean, it's a common time to...
I think every year they do this. Let's react, I guess. Well, hold on. Oh, I do have it. Okay. May Day protests are going on today. So I guess we can start with that because it's May 1st.
Why do they call it May Day protests? Is that
I think-
something that's always been called that? Or is it something new?
I'm not sure. That's what they're calling it. I think they do it every year. So this guy, Mike Sinato, tweeted, Whole Foods, Amazon, Target, and Instacart workers are striking on May 1st. That's today. May Day general strike. So this has been going around for a while. He tweeted this April 22nd. So they've been planning this for a while, it seems. Then essential workers plan May Day strikes. Others demand end to COVID-19 lockdown. And so there are like two sets of people that are protesting, but they're protesting different things.
Opposite, yeah.
Well, it's not opposite things, I guess. Some want to end... I guess you can get both better pay for essential workers and open up in some capacities.
Yeah, if they're essential workers, recognize them as such with more than just calling them that and making them work.
Mm-hmm.
Like hazard pay, guaranteed health insurance.
So this article says employees at many online retailers, grocery store chains, and package delivery services are planning labor actions Friday to protest what they describe as unsafe working conditions amid the COVID-19 pandemic, while others, put out of work by the disease, are using May Day to demand an end to stay-at-home orders they say are ruining livelihoods and irreparably harming the economy. Meanwhile, nurses at scores of hospitals across the country plan to take to the streets to protest a lack of personal protective equipment. And independent truckers fed up with low freight rates plan a congestion-inducing slow roll in their rigs through parts of Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, and other major cities. Wow, that's a lot of different industries protesting together. It's like retail, medical, and what is that? Trucking, distribution, shipping?
Because it's like they're still working to still get all our deliveries in.
So here's a photo. Nurses stand in counter protest during a demonstration against stay-at-home orders due to coronavirus concerns at the State House in Providence, Rhode Island on Saturday. So protests, counter protest, it's all going on in May, and it just started. Anyways, we have some clips from Democracy Now! That it kind of explains from the organizer who's part of the organization of the May Day protests. So let's take a look at that.
Many people are still joining a call for a general strike. An unprecedented coalition of essential workers from Amazon, Instacart, Whole Foods, Walmart, Target, and FedEx are calling out sick or walking out during their lunch break to demand better health and safety conditions, along with hazard pay. Others are joining them for May Day actions that include rent strikes, car caravan protests, and online organizing, calling for a people's bailout, an economic recovery plan that prioritizes workers. The May Day strike follows a walkout last month by Amazon workers in New York City and more than 10,000 Instacart workers nationwide. Whole Foods workers led a national sick-out on March 31st, and sanitation workers in Pittsburgh and bus drivers in Detroit have staged wildcat strikes. Well, for more, we're going to Jackson, Mississippi, to speak with Callie Acuno, co-founder and co-director of Cooperation Jackson, which issued a call to action towards a general strike to end the COVID-19 crisis and create a new world. Callie, welcome back to Democracy Now! Talk about your call for a people's strike and your group and the response to it around the country.
Mm-hmm. Well, good morning, everybody, first and foremost, and happy May Day, despite the conditions. We are, first and foremost, trying to defend people all throughout this country. May 1st was the day that Trump and his allies like Tate Reeves decided to, just totally disregard all of the scientific evidence, all the scientific reasoning, and try to force many millions of workers back to work. So our coalition marked that date, which fortunately for us happened to be May Day, and decided to stand up today to send a clear message that we will determine when it's safe to go back based upon the scientific evidence and reasoning. That is the first thing our coalition has grown to rise up, state, protect, and be in solidarity with folks, whether they're taking actions at work, actions at home, or they're rent striking or taking the caravans. So we're going to be out in force today. I think there'll be many millions of people consciously and deliberately acting today. And I think it's the start of a critical movement that we're going to need in this country for some time to come, because after the crisis ends on the pandemic side, we know the economic dimension of it is still going to keep waging on. And what we're trying to get ahead of is all of the disaster capital, enforcement of weak labor laws or new working hours, lower pay that we think is going to come in the wake of how capital is going to restructure to deal with this pandemic and exploit workers on the heels of it to try to recoup profits.
Can you talk about how you've been able to put together this grassroots?
Sorry, just pause real quick. It seems like they just want two things, as far as I can tell, like protection and maybe hazard pay. I mean, just to be able to go to work in a way that's safe without being
so anxious about getting a
Right.
virus if they're,
And then I guess also for higher wages. It's like they're making all these
Yeah.
profits during this
they're
pandemic,
essential.
and none of that is going to the workers. It's like we covered it before earlier this week, where like the stock market added like 300 billion in value, but then like unemployment hit 30 million. It's like the
lopsided.
right. And so I feel like these May Day strikes are an opportunity for workers to try to balance out the capital a bit, like the capital that's running through these enormous corporations, especially now during the pandemic, where these are the only places that are making money. Anyways, and so now this guy is asking him, how is he organizing this grassroots movement? Let's take a look.
Labor protest.
Number one, I think the situation really required it. A number of folks were reaching out to us in the state and in the region about some ideas based on some early conversations that we had based on our initial response. And I should say a few of us, myself included, have had some prior experience with earlier coronavirus, the SARS in particular. Several good friends, particularly one that was dear, died of SARS, was about a decade back. So we started trying to do education with a number of folks and encouraging our allies, first and foremost, to take this serious, because there was a lot of chatter that we were hearing that it's just a bad flu, that it'll pass real quick. And we were trying to dismiss people of that notion. That put us in first contact. And then once we issued our particular call, we just really started hitting the phones, working our contacts, working our allies throughout the country to join the call to heed. We did a ton of outreach to organize labor, where there's actually, I would say, more support than people might think. Many people may not be able to take action in direct name, but I think we'll see a surprising number of actions taking place by rank and file workers all throughout the country as a result of our call, and also as a result of all the energy and wildcat strikes that emerged in March and that are still going on.
You know what sticks out to me? There's two groups of people, or maybe there's three groups of people. There's the people that have to go to work, and they're the ones that are protesting in these May Day strikes that they want better working conditions and or safer working conditions and hazard pay. There are people that can't go to work and they're sick of the lockdown. Those are the ones that are protesting on the other side to end the lockdown. And then there's a bunch of people that don't have to do either. They're fortunate enough to like be at home and to have like the means to, they don't have to go to work, or they get to work from home. And so I wonder if there is ever going to be a way for all of those people to come together, either the people who are protesting lockdown and safer working conditions, if they can come together and become a bigger group to get their demands as a whole met. Because it seems like those two group of people, they just need money. They need money from the government. They need money to, for their hazard pay. It's like if they just,
the people who were able to pivot in this pandemic, I see are a lot of people who are ready to do telecom stuff or video.
No, see, and those people who are ready to pivot, they're not as they don't feel the need to protest.
That's what I'm saying. So the problem is showing the industries where they're like the supply chains we talked about, disruptions, because the raw goods, like 70% of seafood went to restaurants instead of, whereas other stuff, most of it went to grocery stores. And so that's like all depleted because different packagers, depending on who they're going to, package things differently. And so it's like, but those disruptions, they can't, especially because the product is a physical product, they can't just move it the way, any which way. There's so many restrictions, and that's
I know, but what's your point?
Showing. So I think if they can see that it's like a supply issue, and it's not either one of them, but like if the medical people want to be doing this, but not if they're not protected. It's like sending them off, what the people say to, so, and then the other people do want to work. They want to be productive also.
That's what I'm saying. I feel,
and I think there is a common ground that can be met.
Exactly.
It's seen in the third group that's very quiet.
It's too counterproductive for them to be counter protesting each other. Like they could easily be on the same side of this because it's an economic issue, but they're both getting the short end of the stick in different ways by the government. They're not being protected by.
Well, what sucks too is how can they trust the government with the way some of our states and federal government are working or not being able to work with each other?
Yeah, we've passed literally tens of trillions of stimulus, and like people still haven't gotten the $1,200 stimulus check. The PPP for small businesses has just been like a big joke. So it's like no wonder.
Every time I go on that website, no more applications, no more applications. We can't.
Dylan Radigan said a month ago, if the political incumbents, if they continue on the path that they're going, there's going to be a lot of like social issues, and it's May just started, and we're already seeing
protests that I've never really seen much of.
It's like unrest in like every group. It doesn't matter if you're like. It doesn't matter if you're like a Democrat or you're a Republican. If you're poor, you're going to feel it. Anyways, so the smart people on the Rising had a clip of a worker who is joining the protest, and I think that's worth taking a look at. Let's take a look at that clip.
Major protests planned at massive U.S. companies across the country. We're talking about companies like Amazon, Walmart, Target, Instacart, and more. So we are following those developments. And in particular, one worker who was explaining why he was protesting, Rashad Lloyd, he's an employee of Total Wine. He had this to say.
Things they tell us we have to, it's mandatory we wear masks. It's mandatory we wear gloves. They are paying someone to dial into the store's security system, to look at the cameras, to verify that we have gloves on, we have masks on, we have our little stay 6 feet apart pins on, But they won't let us keep the $2 hour, $2 extra per hour they gave us as an incentive, as hazard pay, when the situation just keeps getting more dangerous. Congress isn't even fully in session right now until May 4th. You have congressional representatives saying, we're not coming back because of a spike in cases in D.C. And then you have David Trone, who is the congressional representative for the 6th District. His company that I work for took our money away while he can sit at home and safely social distance. This is bull, and that's why I will be joining whatever general strike organization I can find in Maryland, and I will be participating in the general strike on May 1st, because I will not have a company treat me like this while we continue to make money for people who are already rich while we are just trying to survive. I'm done.
Oof. That's
I'd be mad too. It's like if you were out there working, like, oh, okay, I get it. Like
while your lawmakers just stay at home and mail in their votes.
Well, not only that, but he was promised hazard pay.
Yes.
And it's not even that much, but that's what he agreed to. And then they pull that back while they're like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like,
So now everyone's like, now you're not even trying to hide that you're trying to rob everybody in the lowest of the lowest.
It's like Roosevelt said, you got to give them some of your money or else they'll take all of it.
Come rob the banks. I'm just kidding. We'll just be a bank of our own.
I know May just started and it seems like we're going to see a lot more protests.
That'll be fun. I always wanted to be part of one, not just hear about it in history.
Yeah, did you look at Hong Kong longingly last year? Like, oh, I wish that was us.
Yes. You'd be so confused. Like,
we have our own CCP to deal with, huh? The Democrats. Just kidding. It's the Republicans too.
It's the whole house. We need a house cleaning badly.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go over this. Nancy Pelosi was asked about the Tara Reade allegation. I mean, she's been asked a few times, and she dismisses the question comparing Kavanaugh. Oh, she was asked specifically about how they're handling this versus how they're handling Brett Kavanaugh's sex abuse allegation. And her response was, it seemed deflective. I don't know, dismissive maybe. Joe Biden is Joe Biden. And she also had another quote in there, which is like, I think she says, "Don't lecture me."
It doesn't blemish his character. Whereas with Kavanaugh, it was like, oh, it's just, let's investigate because it is about learning about this man's character.
Yeah, but I think what this shows even more is how indefensible Joe Biden is for any Democrat, especially Nancy Pelosi. You know, she's like the head Democrat, and her defense.
That's so weird because I don't know. I didn't know much about politics, but I'm like,
well, it's her position. It's her position in Congress, I believe.
Oh, that's like a label.
Yeah. Anyways, let's look at the quote.
As far as Biden is concerned, how do Democrats square with the idea that they're essentially they're standing by Biden, but they're using a comparatively different standard with Kavanaugh when he demanded a investigation on Justice Kavanaugh, when a very similar allegation came out on him.
Well, let me just say, I respect your question, and I don't need a lecture or a speech. Here's the thing.
I don't need a lecture or a speech.
I have complete respect for the whole Me Too movement. I have 4 daughters and 1 son, and there's a lot of excitement around the idea that women will be heard and be listened to. There is also due process, and the fact that Joe Biden is Joe Biden. There's been statements from his campaign, or not his campaign, but his former employees who ran his offices and the rest, that there was never any record of this. There was never any record. And that nobody ever came forward or nobody... came forward to say something about it apart from the principal involved. I am so proud. The happiest day for me this week was to support Joe Biden for President of the United States. He's a person of great integrity, a great concern for the American people. He authored the Violence Against Women Act when he was the chair of the Judiciary Committee in the 90s. He has been an advocate for funding it all along since then. And
it's like Brett Kavanaugh didn't have a career before then.
That he will be a great president of the United States. He is the personification of hope and optimism and authenticity for our country, a person of great values. So I want to remove all doubt in anyone's mind. I have a great comfort level with the situation as I see it, with all the respect in the world for any woman who comes forward, with all the highest regard for Joe Biden. And that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Okay, so she was asked why are you treating this differently than Brett Kavanaugh? And her only defense for Joe Biden, other than Joe Biden is her comfort level with him. And she lists...
Yeah, you're not of his age range.
You're not within the scope of his predator actions.
They don't pitch a tent when you walk by.
He's like, Nancy Pelosi's a woman? Okay, so she was also asked about it the previous week.
Okay, but seriously, wasn't the Kavanaugh thing when he was...
Yes, in high school.
School?
I believe both. I believe Christine Blasey Ford as well.
I totally do. And I believe we needed to make room for her to...
But you're right, Joe Biden...
And I think because... And I was totally... I understood Kavanaugh's defense too. It's like, wait, is there anybody else after? Because he was very young. You know? And then...
Right.
Whereas this guy, this thing is when he was in office.
Mm-hmm. And she's reported it many times previously, and there's record of it. There are also records.
They did find record because I thought she said there was no record.
No, I mean,
that's why.
Well, there's a record that is closed that Biden could easily open. It's like Delaware is holding it. So there might be something there. There's also there's corroborated evidence she told other people at the time. And then they told other people, like the Larry King interview where her mother called in. She didn't name anyone specifically, but she did say a senator. Yeah. And anyway, so yeah, there is... Just if you really compare them apples to apples, they took the Brett Kavanaugh one way more seriously, even though it didn't have as much evidence as the Tara Reade case does in terms of.
Well, not only that, when I watched the whole Kavanaugh thing, I was like, it sucks that she's getting so she was just stating a truth, and that's fine. And then the thing that would have disqualified him in my eyes was his response and the whole thing, I like beer and I'm like, what? It's just what? Can we just say you were a teenager and blah blah blah? But from then you can
Yeah. Do you need a AA meeting? Yeah. Do you need a sobriety?
Well, how many times are you gonna say you like beer? You're in a new job interview, buddy. But this one, they were she was working, and they were quite literally in their work office area locations. Mm-hmm. Come on, we know what appropriate, and when you're at that age, already working at that level. So I assumed.
So there's another clip of Nancy Pelosi. She was asked earlier this week, and I want to go over that because we made something out of it. But you can see the pattern in her deflection of the question, but also the inconsistency of her answers. Let's take a look.
You've known Joe Biden for 30-something years, right? So, I mean, what is your reaction to these allegations? Now there's two people who have said that he made them feel uncomfortable. Is it disqualifying, and what is your reaction to that?
I don't think it's disqualifying because I think disqualifying is with what your intention is. I do think this about communication in general, beyond this. I'm a member of the Straight Arm Club. I'm not straight armor and all of this. Just pretend you have a cold and I have a cold.
The other way.
Nice.
But I think that it's important for the vice president and others to understand is it isn't what you intended, it's how it was received. And that's generally...
It's not what was intended, it's how it was received. It's not that I intended to stick my finger in you. You just received it that way. Jesus, Tara, come on.
I wasn't meaning to rape you. I was just doing a health check.
You
Come on. Haven't you heard of cervical cancer and shit like that?
I'm Joe Biden, and I'm a gynecologist.
Communication in general. If people don't think they're being communicated with, even in your marriage, if your spouse doesn't think you're communicating, you ain't communicating. What he means
when he puts a finger in my vagina.
And I did that. And so it's
what is that communicating to you, Nancy?
So to say I'm sorry that
you got 5 kids
were offended is not an apology.
What?
I'm sorry I invaded your space. Not I'm sorry.
Your literal box.
What's that? That's not accepting the fact that people think differently about communication.
Nancy was gross.
A handshake, a hug. No, as you said, I know Joe Biden a long time. My grandchildren love Joe Biden. I mean, he's an affectionate person to children, to senior citizens.
I'm sorry.
Children and senior citizens, all the people he's not going to pitch a tent to.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry you're...
That's a good thing.
She said, I'm sorry you're offended is not an apology. I can't get over that.
Wait,
that's
I'm sorry?
You're offended is not an apology. She said it.
Because people don't like that.
Whether it's
people don't like saying I'm sorry.
No, as
that
you
you
said,
got
I know
offended.
Joe Biden.
It should be I'm sorry for what I did.
No, but she's saying that's not an apology. Like just because someone's offended, it doesn't mean you have to apologize. I think that's what she's saying.
Oh, it's because there are so many. I don't know if you see like official. I was like, what is an official apology? And apparently, it's like legally they write a letter and it's written out,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an official apology when blah blah blah. But a lot of people would argue it's not an official apology if you say, "I'm sorry that da 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 offended you," but you're not.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? And
okay.
She's like, that's not an apology.
Okay.
But.
I thought she was saying just because you were offended, that doesn't mean I have to apologize.
Oh yeah.
Let's keep going.
She's just going. She's using other
My
things.
grandchildren love Joe Biden. I mean, he's an affectionate person to children, to senior citizens,
to
green
stuff
everyone.
On her shirt.
That's just the way he is, but that's just not the way. Join the Straight Arm Club with me, if you will. And also, for example, my grandchildren, when they were little, like 5 and 6, now they're more 10 or 11, they would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. That's the magic word. Because she was just so lovely to them and paid attention to them. But he doesn't understand, he has to understand in the world that we're in now that people's space is important to them, and what's important is how they receive it, not necessarily how you intended it.
Man, look at that stall.
Play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden.
She says
that's
he has to understand now, and she takes so long to complete her thought.
But he doesn't understand.
Because she's having to speak while she thinks.
I know, but
I don't know I can do that. I don't think.
People's space is important to them, and what's important is
I just think she never really had a point.
Not necessarily how you intended it.
And she was like, how do I conclude this?
She answers in a way so that they don't want to ask her another question. They're just like, wait, did she answer it? Is she a lawyer?
I don't know, but anyways, so Nancy Pelosi says, join the Straight Arm Club. And we've been kind of repeating that all week because it's fun. Straight Arm Gang. Let's get in on it.
I'm a member of the Straight Arm Club. I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. I'm not the Straight Armor. Join the Straight Arm Club with me, if you will.
And I don't need a lecture or a speech.
Don't lecture her. She's in the Straight Arm Club. I don't know what that means, but it seems like repeating history.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Maybe.
Straight arm gang. It's fun. The show's fun.
And then the next time it's gonna be a little lower and it's gonna be hands up for grabbing people's balls.
Oh, I thought that's for give me money.
No, because see how the
give me your money.
It's slightly higher before, and the palm is down.
Yeah.
And now she's doing it straight out with the palm to the right. So next is down low, palm to the top.
I wonder if people can get at me for taking this out of context, because she's literally saying straight arm club. You know what I mean? You think?
Whatever, dude. They might be thinking you're like pro America. There's sadly some people that might think that
because it's both Nancy Pelosi and
like
some people hate both of those, and they're like, yeah, he's one of us.
Or some people like both.
Sure. Well, we're on Elon Musk is crazy.
Yes. Oh, is that the next one? Wait, we've got.
Yeah, we can do this. We can do this.
2:20. 4:20 in Mexico City.
So I think Elon Musk is. We covered this tweet yesterday. He said "Free America Now," and then he got a bunch of shit for it. Apparently,
yeah, we talked a lot of crap, and I usually am very
You're pretty reserved, right?
Yeah.
And so Rep. Ilhan Omar says, billionaires want to continue profiting off your labor, even if it means risking millions of lives. They call this freedom. And so I think that got to him because a lot of people, they kind of uncovered the fact that if he meets certain goals, he would get
a payout
equivalent of an option to buy stocks at a really low price, about like 1.69 million shares of $350. And right now they're trading upwards of 700. And so he would just immediately make $720 million because of the option he gets to buy the stock price at if Tesla performs well. So people were automatically assuming if he wants to reopen America so bad, it's because he actually wants to meet this goal so he can get the option to buy that stock and make $720 million. Not because he actually cares about America. He's just another billionaire that wants to make money. That's a criticism that he was getting.
Has anyone read his book, his biography?
I haven't even read his biography, and I bought it.
I know, it's in my book. I read.
I know.
Once I got to the bankruptcy part, I was like, I can't read through this because at the same time,
yeah,
I was deciding to, and I felt so hard. Like he. Anyways, that's why I was like, I think what he doesn't want is to lose control of the company.
Well, anyway,
he wouldn't have made money. He would have just bought back all those stocks. If he could.
Well, look at this.
Oh,
cool. I can point both ways.
Yeah, he's going to reduce his own costs.
This is what he tweeted this morning. I am selling almost all physical possessions, will own no house.
Is he going to go live on his yacht? His airplane. His boat.
His rocket. I don't know. Do you feel like this is... he's trying to, what is that, value? He's trying to show that he doesn't care about money. Like, it seems like a move.
He doesn't care about money. He understands the importance of money and what is needed in order for his company to grow. He doesn't want that to be such a huge factor in why or how the company grows.
So this is what he tweets 1 minute after. Tesla stock price is too high, in my opinion. And then like literally immediately after, and that's during market hours, it just like just tanked. And then he went on
stopping the people from trying to short it.
And then within like 15 minutes, I guess, he starts tweeting the Star Spangled Banner. What is that? The American our theme song? What do they call that? Anthem?
Theme song? Yeah. Wait, when was he naturalized? Is he still Canadian? Was he ever Canadian?
I don't know.
He's South African. Then
you're the one who read this book, and then so the market.
I couldn't finish it. I'll go finish it.
Markets now are recording. Tesla stock tanks after Musk tweets price is too high. And so not only is he selling his possessions, but he's committing seppuku for his company. What a guy, huh? So let's take a look at a...
You could go focus on SpaceX.
Let's take a look at some news coverage of this.
One thing we've learned lately is that when Elon Musk tweets, the news cycle follows him. And in fact, he does have a series of tweets in the past few minutes. Says, I'm selling almost all physical possessions, will own no house. Says Tesla stock price is too high, IMHO, in my opinion. And now give people back their freedom. 33 million followers, John. And it's going to get attention. Stock now down almost 7%.
Yeah, the stock was already down a bit, but I'm looking, it looks to me like it was at around 750 when he tweeted that the stock was too high. Now it's at around 725. I can only imagine how Tesla shareholders who have been enduring volatility along with the rest of the market must feel about this, Carl. But if you come to expect anything from Elon Musk, he's going to exercise his
Stick up the ass.
Yeah. Morgan, we've spent years now trying to get inside his head.
Colder. That's so weird. Why would you?
Yeah, well, I think he's had a very busy week, and certainly we did see the pressure on Tesla shares accelerate with that tweet. Also important to keep in mind that he's nearing this very large multi-million dollar potential payday in options as well this week. So it's interesting to see how all of that is playing out. I would imagine short sellers are kind of losing their minds a little bit, given the nature of this tweet.
Yep. Well, it seems like he's trying to curve the fact that maybe we figured him out, and so he's like trying to show that he's like, I don't care about money. I really care about the Constitution.
But I think it wasn't about the money. He wanted the company to do well.
I don't know. I think he had maybe a plan for that $720 million, and now that he really wanted to do it. He
can't buy back all his stock?
What do you mean?
Who owns most of the Tesla stock? You said it was in a stock option.
No, so Wall Street would reward him an option to buy at a strike price of $350 million. Otherwise, they keep those. Whoever the investors are probably keeps those stock.
I know. I think he would have used he just wanted to buy back the stock.
Or sell it so he could do something with the $720 million or $700 million that he would get. I think he really wanted to do something with it.
I really need to go finish his book because I'm like, why did Tesla go public?
Anyways, so Elon Musk seems desperate to get richer as people are striking outside. Let's take a look at let's take a look at the quote he was doing before, yesterday about how it's fascist to keep people inside. And Mark Zuckerberg has a...
I'm wondering, is he confused? Does he think people are being locked in?
Yeah, I don't think...
Because he's in such a big house that he hasn't left the front door, but does he think
Elon Musk
County is being
is confused in probably many ways, but that I think in terms of politics and business...
Oh, he's worse than I am?
No. I think he's very smart. Oh, and that's why it's politics. You're not this dumb, Elon. What's the game? What are you doing?
Oh, poor guy. Maybe because people say there are times he doesn't understand something, but he's not. He's fine with asking questions.
Because this clip has the call from yesterday. So let's listen to the call. Let's listen to actually what he said in the Q1 earnings call, and then we'll decide for himself.
Welcome back to the clash of the tech titans, Tesla CEO Elon Musk and Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg taking opposite sides on the stay-at-home orders during their respective earnings calls yesterday. Musk telling investors the orders hinder people's freedom. Listen.
If somebody wants to stay in their house, that's great. They should be allowed to stay in their house, and they should not be compelled to leave. But to say that they cannot leave their house and they will be arrested if they do, this is fascist. This is not democratic. This is not freedom.
That is, but that's wrong.
Give people back their goddamn freedom.
So this is the issue I have with this argument is that he says. I don't know. It's
if they leave leave and they will be arrested if they do. That is like, I believe that is not democratic, but that's not happening.
Well, it's like, but whenever you,
they just have nowhere to go. It's
yeah,
not that they're being held in place; they just have nowhere to go. It's a whole.
Exactly. It's like
different.
You're right, and he's not. I don't think Elon Musk is the type of guy to like fall for like just like kind of string theories on the fringe conspiracy theories on the internet. It's like they're keeping us in our homes. Like, you think coronavirus is a hox? You know, there are numbers and cases and data all over the world. You're not.
Yeah, but he even in April he was like, "Oh, we're gonna get a handle on this." I mean, he didn't know what a BPAP machine.
But he was still willing to donate ventilators. He was taking it seriously, and now all of a sudden it's
but
like
he
this.
Had plans for it to.
Exactly.
He has his whole life. Always, his timeline has been way short, and he blows his top every time he can't meet those deadlines. Even though he's like, "We can make it, we can make it, we can make it." Everyone says he's gotten better, but he still hasn't.
So you think he's in denial?
Not from losing money. He's losing his shit because all those plans have to be like redone again.
That's what I mean. It's like he had a plan.
He's anxious and he's whatever, like everybody else, and he's just. Except now he's playing with big people's money. And it's
you're the
funny.
You're the 31st richest person in the world. You know, it's like what I don't know. It just seems out of touch. Let's finish the clip.
How can they stay in touch? Of course, like when's the last time he's had to scrub his own toilet? You know, like.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, do you think he's sitting there struggling with homeschooling his own kids?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, but that shit's hard. But he's got plenty of help to do. Like, he even now, how can we expect him to truly be in touch?
So they have some Mark Zuckerberg quotes, who's arguably equally as rich.
Zuckerberg,
probably
on the other
making
hand,
more
is
money
urging
during
caution,
this time.
saying, quote, "I worry that reopening certain places too quickly before infection rates have been reduced to very minimal levels will almost guarantee future outbreaks and worse, longer-term health and economic outcomes."
You know, SpaceX is still doing launches. Elon Musk is still making money as other ways. Just throwing a fit.
I think,
Tesla.
so he'll be able to just focus on that, but it sucks because, like, Tesla was his baby, and I think he feels like he's losing. He won't be able to do and push forward with stuff he expected if he could have bought all those stocks back, maybe. No? Whether he traded in for money or whatnot, usually he invests back into the company in ways that's, like, risky, but investors reinvest because they work out, even if the timeline's all been jacked.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I feel like you had a plan for that $720 million, and now it's like
falling through.
Well, now he has to like wait or
welcome
do
to
something.
The boat, Mr. Musk. Pivot. You
have to be the 30th person in the world, 30th richest person in the world to be able to do it.
There was a quote by him about like why he would want to spend money in more in like instead of just following the route, but the more expensive route.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's like this, and especially a lot of things with the green, saving the earth type things. And he's like, it's like us being on a big ship together. None of us can get off. So if there's a hole, we all better chip in to start paling. Or,
Elon.
You think he's lost touch of that? Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I think it's easy to lose touch. It's 420.
We'll smoke you out or give you some shrooms if you can't calm down.
420 in where is it? Mexico City? What did you say?
Yes.
Okay.
I keep saying I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna make it a priority for my kids. They're gonna learn the states and time zones.
Oh, jeez, learning
right?
the states.
They're in the U.S.
Is so. I remember the first time I had to do it. I think it was like in the 4th grade, maybe 5th grade. Oh god, it's like the hardest thing to do.
I still know them all in alphabetical order.
Yeah, because of the song.
Don't you still then?
Yeah, but that's the easy part. Learning like where they are and their capitals, it's such a pain.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get that far. I was like, okay, that's enough.
I know. It's like name a city or name a state. I can't name the capital.
California.
I mean, that's easy.
Well, I
LA.
Hey, I have a shirt from LA. It says Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Blazers. It's very fitting for the show. All right, we got a fun clip. In California, this guy. I have a. Okay, I think it's in this folder. Death Valley hike. This guy, Sheriff Woody, PCT.
Is he dressed like? Yeah, he's dressed like the Disney Woody character.
He had a hike in Death Valley. I think it's like if you're quarantined at home and you want to go on a hike, it's pretty satisfying. So if you want to check out his channel, I have it up there.
All the people stuck in apartments and stuff.
And this whole little plateau-y thing is covered in sarcasticles.
I know, that's when...
And now we're going to go check out all this limestone. And while we're looking, there's a plane wreck over there. We're going to go try and check that out, too.
Ooh, let's go to a plane wreck.
See that? You know what I mean?
I think he has a camera that zooms in, and that's how he gets these nice pictures.
New flowers. I'm going to put it on my Instagram.
Desert horn lizard.
Yeah!
Wow.
Those things spit blood out of their eyes. Well, it's like a red, liquidy looking.
He's so cute. I wish
when you pick him up.
there was something for scale.
He's like that rock.
He's so cute. This is so fun. Oh my god, I'm already having so much fun. It's like we're outside. He's so small.
Yeah, he's like this teeny. Oh.
Wow, those are pretty. Gilman's spring parsley.
Semopterus gilmanii.
I'm having so much fun already.
Ouch, don't fall in that though.
Limestone-loving plants.
Death Valley. How far are we from Death Valley? How far is Phelan from Death Valley?
I think we're really close.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got a handheld computer right here. Why don't I use that? Death Valley. Let's see.
So I've been walking for a few hours. Come up about almost 2,000 feet.
Dang.
We're getting pretty close to that plane crash.
How is that a valley? Oh.
We're gonna see if we can't go check that out. Also,
that's the side of the
finally
valley.
got a little bit of pinyon juniper forest up at the top.
4 hours.
Looks like it might be limestone. There's some scree. We're gonna check for Claytonia panamentensis.
It's probably the same distance
Look at that
to
one.
Las Vegas.
Rough seed Oreocaria.
Oreocaria? Oh.
Ooh, the only white flowered Oreocaria in California with an exorted corolla. What does that mean?
I don't know.
That's so cool. This guy knows so much about plants.
So yeah. Oh.
With other species of Oreocaria, you'll need the nutlets front and back views. Sometimes you can find last year's nutlets still laying near the parent plant, as I did here. Cool.
Made it to the top up here. We're about 7,300 feet. There's
Wow,
Peak.
it's high.
Ride this nice limestone ridge here. Check out the spring and head over to that plane crash.
It's like hiking without, the exertion. Roxburia. Forget it. Coville's dwarf sand verbena.
Verbena?
Whoa, that one looks so cool. Whoa, it's like one of those infinite fractal videos. Panamint.
This is why it's the best to go nature
rock
hiking.
goldenrod with people who know nature. Purple
I was
chymo.
gonna say while on psychedelics.
Indian spring parsley. I know.
So here it
We're
is.
in the high desert. These plants are.
I know.
Debris all the way down there. Fell into
Wow.
the ravine.
Is
like some
he
kind of
afraid he might
military
find dead people?
Air Force. I don't know. Training exercise.
Damn.
Geno.
Dang, that's so cool. It's like we're really there. I say this is a good time to smoke.
Let's
light up in this plane.
And here are parts of this plane that were just sheared to bits.
Shred to bits, you say?
That's sad.
Do you think they got ejected?
I have no idea. Maybe the top of the plane seems missing. Who knows? I'm not a plane crash expert. Whoa. What is...
The propeller? Nobody died in the crash.
January 24th, 1952, this Grumman SA-16 Albatross took off on a direct flight from Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho, headed for San Diego during a classified training mission supporting CIA Cold War operations. Around 6:30 p.m., the left engine caught fire over Death Valley and the plane began to drastically lose elevation and velocity. The pilot gave the order to evacuate the plane and all 6 people jumped out of the rear door. They parachuted to safety and landed 14 miles north of Furnace Creek, which they then hiked to. Nice. The unmanned plane then smashed into the mountainside where it remained to this day. So, it seems like they jumped out in time. The crew, being on a classified mission, were then picked up by the Air Force the next day and then sent a crew to recover sensitive materials from the wreck. They're like, well, it's on public land.
Oh, is that... Maybe that's why...
The rest of the plane was left as it was far too remote and difficult to recover.
Dude, we should... I bet you there's lots of plane crashes that are left, like in the ocean. Divers will go shipwreck diving. I wonder if we can do like airplane hiking.
For 68 years now, it has been sitting out here in the beautiful desert mountain wilderness, its final resting place. I think, yeah, because like it's so dry, it's like really well, what is it called?
It didn't like
preserved.
Rust.
Yeah, it doesn't really rain there. It's like 3 inches of rain a year or something.
Straight down to the valley. Wow.
That was fun. Well.
Was that it?
Yep. That's all I got for today.
Wait, so did we redo some?
Did we redo some? No.
Oh. I thought we saw the Pelosi one. Was that
We did see the first... I just showed the clip before we showed the video so that the clip would make sense. So we just went over 2 clips. One we went over yesterday. But the yesterday's clip was AOC's opinion versus Pelosi's, and then this clip was just Pelosi's opinion.
Oh, okay. So I'm like, I thought we made that straight arm joke earlier.
We did. That's why I was saying we keep making this joke, so let's go over the clip.
That's true.
All right, guys. I hope you had a good time. I guess we'll end with that clip because it's so fun. Let me get rid of this guy.
The dancing? I mean, the...
You know the one.
I'm going to start doing the...
Straight Arm Gang.
Join us.
Yes, I'm a member of the Straight Arm Club. You know, I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. You know, I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. You know, I'm not the Straight Armor. Join the Straight Arm Club with me, if you will. And I don't need a lecture or a speech.
You know, she grows on me. The more I watch this.
She got there some for...
Yes, I'm a member of the Straight Arm Club. You know, I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. You know, I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. You know, I'm not the Straight Armor. Join the Straight Arm Club with me, if you will. And I don't need a lecture or a speech.
Oh man, you thought Donald Trump was entertaining? Wait till you meet Nancy Pelosi. Donald Trump wishes he could be Nancy Pelosi. She probably makes more money than him. If he honestly releases tax returns, I wouldn't be surprised if Nancy Pelosi was worth more than Donald Trump. Do you know why? She's a better politician. Anyways, okay, guys.
Could hide it better.
Obviously, she's still at work. She didn't get impeached. And people like her, or I don't know. AOC likes her.
They won't say anything against her.
She's Democratic royalty. She's establishment royalty.
Why?
She's like a likable Hillary Clinton.
Why? How old is she?
Probably older than she looks.
Because at least she's like, seems to be all there, because her kind of flubbering is just because she's trying to think of like she does.
Yeah.
At the same time, she has to fill in the speech, but the other is like so different from Biden. But
well, yeah, Biden.
Why are all the people there so old? I mean,
it's true.
Is that every country? They're governed.
I think smaller countries have might have younger average governing ages, because there's
that's why they treat their population like children, and feel the right to do so because they're like of an age that's older than all of the population. Is it not? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think their problem is treating us like children. I think their problem is selling legislation
treating
to
us like slaves.
No, it's selling legislation to corporations, to like the private enterprise.
Not even thinking of us.
Yeah.
We're just a number.
They're just like, wait a second, I can make how much building a pipeline through all of these people's houses and fracking here and not give a shit about their clean water?
Well, no, it's sold and we will be oil independent from other countries. That was the package sold. Somehow it was packaged in a way that was sold to them that made it sound like a good deal.
Yeah.
And that's why they still stand by it.
And that's why we've been at war for 20 years. Anyways. We should end today's show.
Note.
Yes, thank you so much for your support. Oh my goodness, this marks the end of 4 weeks
Go
or a
out
month
there
for
and
us.
protest something.
I know. Thank you to all of our 32 subscribers.
Survivors? Oh.
It's a milestone for us. We finished our first month. I'm very proud of the show.
Yeah, 1 month.
If you look at our first videos, the show looked really different. It was a really different show back then. We were trying to do 4:20 Eastern to 4:20 Pacific.
Wow, that was long.
Yeah.
And, well, the heat's about to come, so.
All right, so segments are shorter. Hopefully soon we'll have guests. That's the point.
Or we're going to look like we're in a sauna.
Well, yeah. I know. How
You're
we
like
cool it down in here?
What's wrong with them?
We're crying through our face.
It's like, are they tripping?
All right, hold on. One more time, because it's short.
I'm a member of the Straight Arm Club. I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. I'm not the Straight Armor. Straight Arm Club. I'm not the Straight Armor. Join the Straight Arm Club with me, if you will.
And I don't need a lecture or a speech.
Vertical palm.
Yeah.
Has to be a vertical palm. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. And remember, if you don't have buds, wear your buds. Have a good one, y'all.